do drugs cause people to steal? No, the heart causes people to steal. Being broke tempts somebody to steal, and usually, if somebody's going to be somebody who steals, they don't have the conscience, whether they're on or off drugs, not to steal. Now, being broke can tempt somebody to steal, and doing illegal drugs, people get broke easy because dealing groups steal from their customers, and and also illegal drugs are built, so some of them are built to make a person want more and to be able to tolerate more. And but although most people could figure out how to work that in their budget, if they're around a lot of thieves and violent people, then that is really what causes them to be in positions to where they might steal or be tempted to steal or forced to steal. And so, why don't people steal when they drink coffee? People do. Some people will steal for cigarettes because cigarettes make you want more. But coffee is dangerous. It's more dangerous than a lot of the drugs in a way. If you drink too much coffee, you're going to die. You're going to have a heart attack and a stroke and die if you have 5 cups of coffee. Pretty much. If you have 3 cups, maybe you're going to die. So it's a powerful drug. Coffee is, but nobody's fiending for it because it'll kill you if you do too much. So but the bottom line is it's a misconception to think that drugs cause people to steal. It's the heart that causes people to steal. It's desperation that causes people to steal. Some people that might would steal even if they have a conscience not to, if they care about people, that it's possible for them to be tempted to steal and sometimes give in. But most of the time, people who have a conscience against stealing won't steal, whether they're on drugs or not, unless somebody's forcing to or threatening their life for money, and then they might steal to save their own life. And so it's not really drugs that do that. Drugs can cause you to bad drugs that aren't done right, or if you're rushed in doing them on the streets, they can cause you to lose your mind and run in the street and get killed by a car. But and other things like that. So they should, in my opinion, they should have legal drugs venues, and because really the truth is about drugs in the street is they have good natural medicines in the street that they've mixed with other things, but they also hustle. They also have stuff in there to black people out on purpose. They have stuff, you know, just to the formulas that cause persons to want more, but and they hardly even depend on that because they use that to be able to blame addicts, when but dealing groups actually, and sometimes other addicts who are into the dealing groups, and they will steal actually from other addicts. They create the stealing environment, and because they steal from addicts, they make the addicts desperate who wouldn't normally steal, and they might be tempted to steal or overspend or whatever because they may have even had their drugs stolen from them. But you need to stay away from the streets because it's dangerous. There's hardly any. Almost every one of them are desperate who are out there dealing and those kind of things. I can't say that all addicts are evil, but most of the dealing groups are evil. Actually, they don't care about anybody. Now I don't want to say that 100% because a lot of them may feel trapped in the situation, but uh, so that some people they're not straight up cold blooded killers. Some of them, maybe a lot of them are not, but I can tell you there's always going to be one wild one in the bunch, and they're pressuring even the ones who try not to be that way. They're under pressure, and people are under pressure because they're scared of going to jail and all those kinds of things. I don't think that's all their fault. I think the laws are messed up, and they're not. That's not their fault. The system's that way, and so it's a thing you want to stay away from, and plus you want to think about your health. And so when I promote making safe medicines, I am not advocating more drug use. I am advocating. I think there would be less drug use because there would be less injuries and less reasons for people to want to use drugs because you'd understand that drugs are mostly to be used for when you're sick, and who wants to be thought of as sick if they don't have to be. And so I think people are wrong about it. I think we lied about drugs so much that it sounds bad, some of the stuff I say, but it's actually the more, it's the logical way. It's the wise way. We need to pressure society to have safe medicine venues, and some of those should be in liquor stores. A lot of people will hate on me for saying we should keep liquor stores legal. Well, but people aren't out there forcing beer on you, and if they are, because we have liquor stores. But if they are, you can. you can actually, it's legitimate to go to the police about that. A lot of people hate police. I do. I think we should have a police force, but our police force should be protecting everybody from violence and theft. And so we've begun to hate the police. I guess a lot of, not me, but a lot of people hate police because of the drug laws being crooked, and that's not the police's fault. Most police probably actually think they should legalize the way I'm talking. I would. A lot of them do think that. Now, if they got in the drug police forced to do drug busts, they're in it for the wrong reason. Now, you know, I mean, of course, you want to bust people who are poisoning drugs. You want to bust. You should want to bust people who are using drugs to rape people and hurt people and all those kinds of things and steal from people, because you want to should protect against theft, and most people in the drug cultures and all that, they're not. They know they don't like to be robbed, so they would learn to kind of agree with the what makes sense, right? They don't totally disagree with that, most, believe it or not, but they're in desperate situations, a lot of them, because of the way it is. And so it's, then there are those that just hate everybody and hate everything, and those are called opportunists and let's see, opportunists and predators. There are people in there for that reason, and those are the worst ones, actually, against your neighbors. Everybody's a sinner, but they're worst as far as damage that they do, and being and not caring what they do at all, and actually going after people and getting people. Those people exist, and the way the system is, we're not trying to root those kind of people out. So if you have legalized forms, and that's hard to do because there's so much to it, that, like, for instance, the way they've made marijuana illegal in some places but not fully legal, the government can still call it illegal. The feds, they call it. So it's legal in Colorado, but the feds can overturn that anytime and bust somebody. You need to make stuff fully legal, but only have the safest forms of it out. And then they're not honest about what the safest forms are. And so it is difficult, but the reason they do that is because the drug cartel has people arguing against the safe forms and declaring this isn't a safe form, and they're in there helping make the laws and making sure both businesses continue to exist. So you have to. There's a ton of tricks, but the truth is, it's probably better to put it in places like liquor stores, because doctors are not. They like power control. They have a lot of superstitious doctors too. And the truth is, the bottom line, when it comes to medicine, people have to learn to be responsible in how they use medicine. And so if you have, right now, a responsible we don't have responsible venues to get medicine. So, but if we have the responsible venues first, then we can put the pressure on consumers to be responsible, and people who use medicine to be responsible with the medicine. And then what this crazy stuff about putting people in for 10 years or whatever for taking medicine or stealing a medicine, they put them in for 10 years for stealing somebody's medicine. How about you just have them pay the medicine back, just like you would for if they stole somebody's car or something else? Well, we should have people still pay people back. We don't do that right either. But generally, you don't put somebody in jail forever for stealing a candy bar or something. But why do you do it with medicine? So that's all crooked, really. And it's not, may the punishment fit the crime. Now, unless you're stealing somebody's medicine who their life depends on taking that medicine, and they're going to die without that medicine, that's a different case. But of course, I'm against stealing. You promote against stealing, but I'm also for mercy. I'm forgiveness. I'm for redemption. And if you steal something from somebody, that can be paid back. But if you steal somebody's life, you can't pay that back. So that's a bigger deal. That's we need the death penalty. So we need the death penalty in place. I also believe in mercy there too, but we still need to let people know the death penalty is very well good, eye for an eye, is alive, and it's debatable depending on the situation, the severity of it, and if the person hasn't repented and they're still trying to kill people, I think you follow through with the death penalty. So I was going to make this shorter, but we'll sum it up. Uh, since I did talk specifics about drug issues on the streets and all those things, there's, uh, Republicans are stupid about this stuff, frankly. A lot of them are. And church folks are too. Can I call church folks stupid? Thank you, Lord. Well, that's a joke. Crucify me if you want. But no, please don't. I will fight back. But you know what? I will run. I won't sit there and plead the fifth. Run or fight. So mostly I'll run if possible. But you have uh, let's see. I don't want to forget. I've lost my train of thought. I was on a roll, but I want this video to be short, somewhat short. And but there's a lot of reasons. That's why I like to write stuff, and sometimes I come up with solutions and I write it, and it's not the same day. I had 50 other solutions, and I haven't put them all in one spot. And I have to, if I wanted to write every solution and put it all in one spot, that'd be a lot of research of my own writings and put compilations and putting it together. And I'm still trying to write new stuff and present new stuff, and so there's a lot of lies out there, but the bottom line is we're too judgmental, and we're supposed to. It's not true that we're not supposed to judge. We have to judge each step we take, or we'll trip and fall. So we have to judge. The Bible says, "Don't condemn and act like they're the only sinner." That's the interpretation, one interpretation of the verse, the one true interpretation. But it's pointing at more than one thing. So there's other verses that actually say we are supposed to judge. So the problem is we can't make the drug issue into the unpardonable sin. Although it is dangerous, you can take a drug and get in a car and kill somebody, and not on purpose necessarily, but it actually could cause you to lose your temper and kill somebody too in a car. Or it can cause a person to not know what they're doing sexually and all that, and making a fool out of themselves, right? So the sexual sins, most of the time, sexual sins are you're hurting yourself and you're making a fool out of yourself, and we make a big deal about that, but that's not, if they're not hurting somebody, if they haven't hurt somebody, it's not a big deal. And even if they have hurt somebody, why treat them worse than you would treat a regular murderer, or why treat them worse than you treat a regular thief, right? So we kind of make a big deal about those sins, but to me, it's like if somebody's has a sexual sin, I'm like, they're not bothering me. They just better not steal from me, and they better not hurt me. So the two biggest things that we can control is theft. We can legislate against theft and assault. Those are big deals. That's why God wrote the Ten Commandments the way He did. When it comes to sexual sins, where the Bible even says you're hurting your own self, and so we have laws to protect against adultery. We should trust the Ten Commandments. And but the Ten Commandments don't speak against drugs. They don't speak against alcohol. They don't speak against drunkenness, because that's generally something that you work on by yourself. If we're in a more truthful society, and we teach people how to be healthy, then I think that would work way better, because who wants to be unhealthy? So really, the way the system is now with the dirty drugs out there, instead of having healthy venues, people don't learn how to be healthier, and so rehabs should be teaching people to be healthier, and they should be, rehabs shouldn't have cigarettes and coffee and teas and caffeine and all that stuff if they're saying that they're trying to teach you how to break addiction, because that's not what they're doing. They're just trying to teach you how to get off the one that's caused you a problem, and they're trying to teach you how. So you could have two types of rehabs. You could have a rehab that teaches you, just to helps keep you in check and helps you stay away from the streets where they're hurting people, and where the drugs may be poisoned, or you're staying away from the other kind of drug you did. But the truth is, and they say you can't interchange medicines, but the truth is you can do a safer medicine than some of those, especially if they had the right venues, because some people can take a medicine that doesn't bother them, doesn't cause them to do things too bad, and then they can do another medicine that bothers their body, or it causes them to misbehave. And you want medicines that help you behave, and that's the other thing. And so as people argue that philosophy, and they'll try to tell me that you won't be that's wrong, they should learn how to behave without medicines. Well, look, man, if in jail, if somebody's killing somebody and they won't quit and they won't get out of a rage, they give them a sedative, and eventually they calm down, and when they come out of the sedative, they've gotten over it. So I take a medicine. I take some caffeine to stay awake at the wheel at 3 o'clock in the morning, or 2 o'clock in the morning if I'm traveling and I don't have an option to stop and rest. So I have people that'll argue, well, you should stop and rest no matter what. Well, sometimes you can't. You know what? So you have to get where you're going to. But So there's a reason to do it, but obviously, if you can live life with no medicine, that's the best option, obviously. So, but to be realistic, this is not heaven. Uh, we have physical bodies, and they won't have medicine in heaven because we won't need it. We don't have the same kind of physical bodies that medicine can actually help at the right times. But it doesn't help if you get addicted to it, right? So anyhow, so it's definitely better. There's no question. It's better to have safe venues and quit overly condemning people and turning medicine world into the unpardonable sin, and instead put the pressure on the dealing groups. That's legal and illegal, but make the legal venues for dealers to be able to work with, and then you'll find out that most of our illegal dealing groups are really diehard thieves and diehard bullies and killers who are hiding behind medicine and then blaming the addicts for everything. And everybody's trusting the addicts are the problem. Well, some addicts are part of that group, the violent group and the killers and the thieves. I mean, there's some of them have bought into that and they use it to help them do more and to help them. So, but half of them are victims of it, and they've just stuck in the system. And that, yes, they are true victims. And so and everybody's a victim to the system because it's taken over our country. And so Republicans are ignorant of that. Democrats are players in that. And maybe there's some Republicans who play into it too by purposely saying, no, we can't make legal forms. And so, but doctors don't do things right. Doctors are not the smartest people in the world. They're clever. I know valedictorians and salutatorians. I'm not that person, but I'm a lot smarter than they are at applying things to life. And most of them, so you got all kinds of different people. There are some very smart, what would I call it? Memory smart, clever smart. You know what? They have memorized. Most of these smart people today who are book smart and memorize stuff, they've memorized a bunch of lies better than everybody else. And they trust them too. They trust the lies. So, and they're into stereotype, and it's easier for smart people to stereotype people and predict them to do something and actually and to marginalize them. So, well, of course they're going to do that because you've marginalized them and you've only given them these 2 or 3 choices. So you can make fun and tempt them. You tempt them and all this kind of stuff, and then act like it doesn't matter. They're supposed to endure temptation. Well, you're not supposed to play devil's advocate, but half the Christian communities do play devil's advocate, and they do that a lot. And it's usually the smart people that do it. The ones, I mean, the book smart types. Anyhow, so there's different kinds of smarts. Book smart's not the only kind of smart in the world. And I say that because you've seen scientist type minds, you've seen them how they're clumsy. They're clumsy. They'll crash into the door, crash into the wall. There's people, your military type people are not. They're not clumsy. So and they're very smart in that sense, and they're smart at applying things as well, just like me. So anyhow, maybe that's why people mistake me for being in the military a lot of times. No, but they do. A lot of people do ask me if I'm in the military, and partly for my hair. Sometimes when I have a haircut, they've done it when I've had long hair too, though, and that's because of the way I carry myself, and pretty much. But no, I've never been in the military. I thought about it a few times way back when I was young enough, but so I guess that's all I have to say. I don't want it to be a long video, and but I thought I said enough good stuff that I wanted to say to qualify the subject. Because guess what? We have the freedom to be a scientist. We have the freedom. We can't just put it in the hands of the liars and the smartest people. Because guess what? They need real lab rats, human lab rats, not just lab rats, and ones who tell the truth, and ones who are smart enough to know the difference. Like I know a lot of people who drink coffee and they think they got a migraine headache 2 days later or whatever. You know what? That's caffeine withdrawal. And there's people who will never believe that, never notice it. And I'm one who is conscientious. What's the other word I want? But I'm conscientious, coherent and conscientious about what I eat and how it makes me feel. And sometimes I like to do it anyway when it's something that causes something negative, but it has picked me up. So with chocolate, I do better than I do with caffeine or tea. I have bad side effects to those. Chocolate, I have side effects if I do too much. And I like to do more. When I start it, I like to do more and more. But chocolate does not hurt me as bad as caffeine and coffee and tea for some reason. But but I pay attention to all that, and I know that when I've quit, and if I quit for a certain amount of time, there goes the migraine the next day usually, and or maybe 2 days it takes, and I realize I don't have a migraine, it's caffeine withdrawal, but I'll take a Tylenol or just do a little caffeine. But mostly, I want to come off the caffeine, stay off the caffeine more. I've done that, and I've done it very rare. And then there's people who will disqualify all my teachings just because, well, you should have quit caffeine altogether, and whatever. These people aren't looking for solutions. I have the knowledge, and my body's at a different level than it has been at other times. Level of recovery, level of being out of shape or whatever. Not out of shape, but obesity, habits that I developed over some times, rough times and stuff. So there's my body. I fix it different ways. I don't like to just always go cold turkey. And when you don't have time and you need food energy, So it is faster, I'll admit, to go cold turkey and do fast and stick to the fast and be tough and stick it out. You'll fix your body and some issues quicker that way, but you won't have this level of an energy. And I'm trying to make videos right now, so I'm not doing die hard fasts. I've done some fasting, intermittent fasting, but in a sense, I wish I'd just do the straight up long term fast and get caught up faster, But I'll get in shape the way I want to. But anyways, that's. But I'm thinking. See, I have a lot of success. I'll put it like that with diet and stuff and understanding medicines, and that's from for many reasons, but um, because I know how they affect the body. In other words, I know God's not performing miracle. He's not promising to perform any miracles, and He does want us to manage things. And for instance, with Israel and all that stuff, that people want to chop our heads off and all that, and they want to prove that God doesn't heal. He's not going to save you from us chopping your head off. He never said He would. We're supposed to protect ourselves. So I do believe in protecting myself and managing things and learning about medicine and knowing how to protect myself there, but also knowing the medicines so we can put safe venues out there so we can protect all people. Thank you.